Hi everybody, welcome back to Read More with Trevor. This week, just kind of a celebration of the Lunar New Year, turning folks on to Bill Porter, aka Red Pine, a very storied translator of Chinese poets and also several Buddhist sutras. I found out about Red Pine a couple years back when I was looking into translations of Cold Mountain Poems by Hans Shan, and really just finding more and more about his life and his work as a translator and the subjects of his translations, like a lot of these ancient Chinese poets, just, wow. But to let people know a little bit more about Red Pine, he has translated Cold Mountain Poems, Mountain Poems of Stonehouse, the Zen Teaching of Bodhidharma, Lao Tzu's Tao Te Ching, Diamond Sutra, the Platform Sutra, the Heart Sutra, the Lankavatara Sutra, and the list goes on. The guy is just phenomenally prolific, very humble, himself a practicing Buddhist. He was a student in Taiwan, where he joined a monastery briefly in the early 70s, and he wanted to start translating. He found that there were a number of Chinese translations of Buddhist sutras that had not been translated into English, and basically kind of saw an opportunity and a life's mission ahead of him. This particular one is Finding Them Gone, where he went back to China in the 2000s to try to find the burial sites and living spaces of ancient Chinese poets, what was left between modern development and the centuries in between. He has another great one I highly recommend called The Road to Heaven. In the late 80s, when communist China first kind of reopened to Westerners visiting, Red Pine, Bill Porter, traveled there and was looking for Buddhist hermits and nuns, and his superficial reply he got from authorities and folks in cities were like, you won't find any, there are none left. The Cultural Revolution and the Red Guards kind of swept through and were very devastating, but through asking around and doing a little bit more on-the-ground research, he finds in The Road to Heaven a number of individuals still living in the mountains. Now, granted, this is the late 80s still, so who knows who's out there now, but a number of Buddhist hermits and nuns still just living the simple life there in China. Lastly, another thing about Red Pine I just love to share, he will open your eyes to beautiful Chinese poetry and culture, and I guess he lives up in Washington, and he just kind of gets by. He's involved with Copper Canyon Press quite a bit. But in China himself, he's actually really made a name for himself, and he's very popular in China, as the Cultural Revolution wiped away so many traces of the older world. My understanding, as I read it today, a lot of modern Chinese really appreciate Red Pine's work in bringing and appreciating Chinese culture to new audiences. That is this week's Happy Lunar New Year to you and yours, and I hope to see you next week. Thanks so much. Read more.